Well, the Biden administration is still working towards rejoining the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, despite the ongoing conflict in the Middle East between Hamas and Israel. Joining us now is Oklahoma Senator James Lankford, a member of the Senate Homeland Security Committee. Senator, welcome back to the show. One of the first things that Biden did when he became president was to promise to rejoin the Obama-Iran nuclear deal. If he does move to broker this deal, does that further fracture our relationship with our ally, Israel?
It absolutely further fractures that. And actually, his conversation right now with Iran is actually what's destabilizing the region at this point. You've got conversations where the administration is currently engaging with Iran, and so Iran sees this as a vulnerable moment. They're starting to ship oil to China and to other places, and to be able to put that on the market, that's giving them more money to be able to funnel towards Hamas and Hezbollah and others. And so that flow of money is coming into them. It is emboldening the enemies of Israel throughout the region, because they see America as weakening in the stance of Iran, and Iran then turns around and starts destabilizing. So even the conversation about it right now is bringing instability to the region. But absolutely, when they're talking about removing sanctions, adding more money to the flow of what's happening to Iran, so it's a big issue. Again, my beef is not with the Iranian people. The Iranian people live under a horrible regime that limits their access to the press, their freedom, their assembly, their freedom of religion, all those things. They live under that kind of oppression as well. But I can't believe that the Biden administration is trying to engage with this regime and to be able to turn more money and remove sanctions from them.
It's kind of silly, right? The Biden administration argues that it was the Trump decision to withdraw from the deal that pushed Iran further to develop its nuclear program, right? But at the same time, they're the ones who sent them pallets of cash that is being used now to fund Hamas. It's the Biden administration that's about to walk back into the same trap that they laid the first time for them.
Yeah, it's everything that the Biden team says this is what's going to happen. You can pretty well count on it being the opposite. So you go back to when they told President Trump, if you move the embassy to Jerusalem, all of the Middle East is going to burn. They moved the embassy to Jerusalem. It was like one afternoon there was a protest downtown. That was it. There was nothing on it. They said if you actually try to be able to work with Arab nations to be able to do a treaty with Israel, it'll never, ever work. 4 different nations in the Abraham Accords, actually peace breaking out of the Middle East, interaction economically happening, bilateral conversations, multilateral conversations, all these things that the Biden team and President Obama and his foreign policy team said could never occur, actually did occur under the Trump time period. So now immediately that was so successful under President Trump that Biden is going back to the Obama policy, and we're getting the exact same results we got before. It's like the border. They go back to the Obama policies, we get the same results. If they were still continuing to do what President Trump was doing, we would have the same results there as well.
Yeah, so much for learning from history. But Senator Lankford, you and some other Republican senators joined a press conference earlier today and called on President Biden to stand firmly with our ally Israel. I want to read for our audience part of what you said. You said, how hard is it for this administration to say, we oppose terrorism? That should be a simple statement to be able to be made. We oppose terrorism and we want peace in the region. So why isn't Biden able to say that?
Right now, Biden is leaning into Netanyahu and is saying over and over, we expect you to de-escalate. I don't know if he's calling the leadership of Hamas as well, or Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and saying we want you to de-escalate as well. This did not start with Israel attacking Gaza. This started with Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad launching rockets into Israel aimed at Jerusalem, aimed at civilian areas, and just randomly launching rockets. Now they've done 3,000 of them now, launching at civilian areas. Now, some of those rockets have actually landed in Gaza and actually hitting buildings and exploding and killing some of their own people at that point. But Israel is trying to be able to stop that. They're trying to do some very simple things, which Naftali Bennett was a great interview, by the way, with Naftali Bennett that you just had before. He was very clear on this. They're trying to be able to take out the tunnels that they're using for terrorism. Those tunnels are not designed for peaceful purposes. They're designed for terrorism and moving. And they're trying to take out the storage and the capability of all those rockets that are there that, again, are not for peaceful purposes. And they're trying to take out the leadership of Hamas. That is a reasonable response to what Hamas is doing at this point. So Biden should be working with Israel to say, we stand with you. We understand you've been attacked, that you don't want this to be able to happen again. Let's try to end this as quickly as possible. Protect civilian lives on both sides. All lives are valuable, whether they're Israeli lives or Palestinian lives. We want to reduce casualties in it, but they've got to stop the attacks that are coming at them, and that's a reasonable thing to be able to do.
Totally agree. I know, by the way, we mentioned at the end of that interview with Naftali Bennett that we'd pray for him. I know, according to your social media, you're doing a prayer meeting tonight. So thank you for doing that. And I think if people want to join in, please look at Senator Lankford's social media page. But I do want to switch gears for a moment, Senator. There's news coming out today, and I want to get your take on this regarding the Trump Organization. The Attorney General there in New York, a big Democrat who campaigned basically against Donald Trump, that was part of her campaign theme, has come out and informed the Trump Organization that it is no longer just a civil matter, but potentially a criminal investigation. It's been pretty clear that from day one that she launched her campaign, she's going out after Donald Trump. Here's what she has said in the past about him.
And no one is above the law, including the Trump Organization. President Trump cannot avoid justice in the great state of New York.
I mean, she has basically spent all of her time in office just saying she's going after President Trump. He released a statement saying that there's nothing more corrupt than an investigation that is in desperate search of a crime. But make no mistake, that is exactly what is happening here. I don't have a lot of time left. I don't mean to jam you on this, but what's your response to this?
Well, so she can begin her investigations by looking at her own governor. That'd be a good spot to be able to look at criminal investigations with Governor Cuomo. That'd be a good practice round for her. They've been after President Trump from the very beginning, going after his tax records, trying to find something to be able to attack him on. This has been a relentless, constant focus that they're just not going to let go of. They are absolutely obsessed with trying to find a way to be able to attack President Trump. They've been at it from the very beginning, even before he was actually sworn in as president. They're going to continue to be able to do that because that is their obsession.
Yeah, and it's funny because Cuomo, at least, is still a resident of New York, so maybe she can look into her own people. That was a great point, Senator. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here, Senator Lankford.
Good starting point. You bet. Good to see you all again.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.